Hi, welcome to the first ever core clown reel. I'm your host, Drive-Thru. One of my favorite parts about the core races is you cannot hide. No move on track goes unnoticed. We got cameras everywhere, and I mean quite literally. There are so many drivers who are streaming or recording their perspective of the race, and so many different storylines that may not get captured on the main broadcast. So, what we're gonna do, hopefully every single week, if you guys like this show, we're gonna try and bring you all of the action that you didn't see. We're gonna analyze incidents from a bunch of different camera angles and see if we can find out exactly who's the biggest clown in the core. You know, there's a lot of people talking crap online. I understand it, I get it, especially in the race, heat of the moment, it makes sense. But really, who is out there disrespecting other drivers? We're going to start just by going through the race. I know you've probably seen the general idea and what happened, but we're going to go through each incident and just watch. Just look at and see who's disrespecting who. All right? We're going to unpack every incident, and there are going to be no secrets when I'm done with this. All right, first caution of the day. Keep an eye on the mirror. Because this... there have been a lot of sends this race. This is probably one of the worst. Pretty simply, I just got sent up the track and bounced off the wall and got in a dale. And I feel so bad for him, really, because he was just just collected in the incident. You can see Rusty on the bottom. Shoves me up the track. I'm in the wall. I kind of bounce off it. Like, I'm trying to keep it away from the wall, but I'm not trying to come down on Dale, and you can see he just gets absolutely collected. Let's watch it from his view. I already know this isn't going to be pretty. Oh, you can see the whole move there. Me getting sent up, bouncing off the wall. It looks pretty bad. It looks like I come right down on him. It's not great. And KG got sent in the pits, apparently. I didn't see that happen. Dale didn't say much about it. I'm kind of surprised. I thought he'd be up in arms because he was doing well and then just got absolutely collected. Let's see what Rusty has to say. So Dale did put himself in this situation, kind of. He got in the wall out of two. But Rusty still sent it. I mean, he's like 2 car lengths back on me, man.
Sorry, drive-thru.
Oh, man.
I didn't mean to do that, baby. I didn't mean to do that, drive-thru. I didn't mean to do it, drive-thru. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it.
That's pretty rough.
Oh, there's a yellow. What do we do? What do we do?
Rusty, you just caused the first caution is what you did. Yikes. A little bit over-aggressive, especially considering we're literally on lap, what, 4? He owned up to it. He wasn't happy about it. Yeah, whatever. You know, an early caution, not that big of a deal. We'll move on. Let's get this more shrimpery. Now, the first real death of the race is IDK player, and unfortunately for him, it looks like a situation. Joseph goes up, gets loose, and he just gets swiped out of the way. Boom, he's in the wall to the back of the pack. Totally wrecked out, but no caution. Because in the core league, we're not running strict cautions, which means you need 2 or more cars in an incident for yellow flag to come out. Unfortunate for IDK player. Let's see what Joseph had to say about it. Let's see here. From Joseph. Gets loose.
No,
Boop.
I'm sorry. Why do I talk? Oh my god, bro. I was racing too aggressive. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Wow, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised IDK took the blame for that. Because he did kind of get taken out by Joseph being loose. But he took the blame for it. I'm kind of surprised. I don't know. I would say that's kind of Joseph's doing, but not really his fault. I mean, they're all just stacking up loose. It's kind of just a racing deal. And I appreciate that IDK is taking it like pretty lightly. I mean, he just got smacked into the wall and he's definitely way out of the draft and we're going into a really long green flag run. So pretty much ruined his race. And he's like, oh yeah, no, too aggressive.
Was that my fault, IDK?
I have no idea. I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest. I was just trying to...
Well, or he's just not paying attention. I respect that though. That's cool.
It was a
And now
racing
Sloppy's here. Great.
All right. It only gets better from here. And I mean it when I say that. So, riding on board with Brendan Littell, we're going to skip, like, literally 2 laps ahead. And this is what really takes him out of the race. Boom.
Bro, are you serious? Uh-huh.
And, I mean, to be Joseph felt bad about it. It's Homestead. It's what happens. You know, you get on the top side coming out of turn 2. You're going to see this a lot tonight. You get real loose, it ends up happening. He didn't mean to do it. He was trying to chase the car down the track, and unfortunately for Brendan, that's it.
Bro, are you serious?
That's pretty much the end of his race. Let's see what Joseph had to say about it.
Come on,
Oh
Michael.
boy.
My name is Sloppy Joe, and all my life I wanted to be a racer.
First of all, IDK's funny.
I got loose off turn 2.
Second of all,
I got
that's
loose
rough.
off turn 2. I took out
You
Littell there.
Rex?
Yeah, I took out Brendan there.
It was an honest mistake. I wouldn't say it's clownery. Like, let's define clownery for a second now. If you are just making dumb moves on the track, I would say like sending it in 3 wide and shoving people up the track. That's a clown move. This, I don't want to say a lack of skill because the track sort of lends itself to that. It's an honest mistake. I don't think anyone's really up in arms about it. Now what you end up with is this sort of long run situation where just one by one, cars are dropping off from the lead pack, just from small things like this, you know? Again, not intentional, just kind of a lack of skill here. Jarrett goes off the wall, bounces right down into Cody. Ultimately screws him over, because now these guys are out of the draft and not really contending for the lead anymore. So there are points when you have to admit, I'm a bit of a clown too. I've had some bad moves, and just like Joseph took out Brendan getting loose on the top side, lap 12, I do exactly the same thing. Big smack to Dale. Luckily for him, he kept it off the wall and kept the car rolling, stayed within the draft. I still feel terrible about that because Dale was just getting wrecked so much this race. He was just getting smacked left, right, and center. What happened there? I think Roots just got loose and put himself in the wall. See what he has to say about that. Yeah, he just chased it up the track. Yeah. I was just a self-walling on Michael's part. Unfortunate, but it just takes him out of the running. Because look, he's now back here with Jarrett, and you've got Kamikaze behind him. And they're out of the draft. It's unfortunate. So at this point, Gator was leading the race. He's battling here with Sloppy, moves up a little bit, and then just gets taken out. And once again, there's not really much he could do. It looks like he just got loose and tried to save the car up the track. Let's take a look one more time here from Gator's point of view.
Hopefully, I'm trying to stay on the... Okay, he wrecked me. So he's wrecked both of his teammates already.
It's not a great feeling, is it? Like your teammate just getting loose and just putting you in the wall by accident. Let's hear what Joseph had to say. So you can see Sloppy Joe just passed Gator. He'd been leading for a while now. And then it's 1 lap after this point. Joseph just sends it in. Keeps it off the apron. I think he just hits the seam and just gets loose. Oh boy. He was clear on his screen, to be fair. But
I can't stay off people.
That's rough. That's not great. Joseph has now taken out IDK and Gator and Brendan Littell. Like 3 of his friends. Like it's not even... It's 3 people that he's either in a chat with or on a team with. And he's just ended up taking them out. Do I want to say lack of skill? He's made mistakes, and people have noticed. Not a clown, all right? Don't get me wrong here. I don't think these are clown moves. It's just unfortunate mistakes. Getting loose, getting into people, and then them getting into the wall. Because I did it too, you know? I got into Dale. He ended up staying off the wall. It wasn't as bad as, you know, what we just saw. Honestly, there's not much to talk about at this point in the race because once everyone started spreading out, you know, people are getting in the wall, dropping back from that lead group, it pretty much... everyone was on their own. Yeah, there were a few battles like this, but generally people were doing their own thing. And for the next 100 or so laps, it was pretty quiet. But there was an incident that I think should have been a caution. Let's take a look at that. It's pretty late into the first run. At this point, some people have already pitted. Gator's getting loose off the corner, wants to keep it off IDK, ends up just putting himself in the wall. But what happens next is worth a note.
Davin just tried to hit me to get a caution, I think.
Now, hold on. Now hold
There's
on.
No way he got. What the heck, dude?
That's a serious accusation, all right? I understand heat of the moment stuff, but saying like he tried to run into me to get a caution, it's not so much the act of doing so, it's him saying that I'm the kind of person that would do that. Do you think I'm the kind of person that would run into someone to get a caution? Has there ever been any history of that? And have I done anything malicious? Like, well, I don't know what Gator's on about, but I think this should be taken a little bit more seriously, because that, again, that's a serious accusation that he's just calling me out for like that. I'm not happy about it. So let's take a look at my view of this, and I think it'll explain some things. Let's take a look. This is me coming out of turn 2. Gator's the car directly in front. You see him get loose and get the wall.
Gator's in the wall. Gator's in the wall. Gator's in the wall. Backstretch. I tried to
That's
stay
gonna be a
away from him,
caution.
but he backed up.
It wasn't a caution, first of all.
He was flipping. Someone hit him. Someone T-boned him and he started flipping.
And I think what this comes down to is just sort of a Heat 4 situation where, especially when cars are wrecking, they appear in different places on different people's screens. So,
Gator's in the wall.
on Gator's screen, he was already way off the wall, down like around here at the edge of the track. But on my screen, Gator was up in the wall, and my immediate reaction is like, he's in the wall, let me turn down and go under him.
Joseph got loose. Oh, Gator's in the wall. Gator's in the wall.
But then you can see the game starts updating his position to where he actually is, based on where he is on my screen, so it backs his car up, ultimately is what gets me into him.
Gator's in the wall.
That's gonna be a
Backstretch. I
caution.
tried
Oh,
to
that's
stay
gonna be a
away from him,
caution.
but he backed up.
That's gonna be a caution.
I understand that things look different on his screen. I still think it's really insulting, honestly, for him to accuse me of trying to create a caution. I know this is sort of drama stuff, but hey, that's what the Clown Reel's about, all right? We're going through every single incident, and we are breaking down this whole race so that you guys have a clear picture of everything that went down. So let's move on, like, way further into the race, now that we've gone through this really long green flag run with a few pit stops. Things really heat up in the second half of the race. Ed missed a pit stop pretty badly. Take a look here. He ran into someone and then backed it into the pits.
This has gone all wrong.
Wasn't great. I'm really surprised there wasn't a caution for that, but hey, again, it was one car incident. You know, they're not going to throw the yellow for it. Did a good job of recovering, I gotta say. I don't think I've ever seen someone do a 3-point turn to get into the pits. Because this is, I mean, he's fully backwards at this point, reversing, stops, sticks it in first gear, and then rolls into the pits. So, pretty impressive, honestly. So through pit stops, Dale eventually gets out. You can see him there in front of Sloppy Joe. Then it's What If behind them. And it's pretty much the three of them just pushing each other, battling each other, you know, giving each other room. They're being really respectful. These guys are great at what they do. Super professional. One of them literally professional. And they had a really good time out here. You know, at least, I think 15 seconds ahead of myself in third place. They had it pretty much made. Until the first caution came out. And now you can tell at this point, you can see Dale, the first car way up there. He's starting to pull away. What If and Sloppy still together. Everyone's sort of starting to think about their last pit stop. How's it going to work? Can we make it to the end? And then, coming out of turn 2, Darian on the top side again. We've seen this story before. You know what's going to happen. Gets loose.
Oh my God, Darian!
And he basically takes himself out. Off of the leaders. He gets run into by someone else.
Darian, dude.
And that is what changes the face of this race. Can you blame Darian? I mean, we've seen Joseph do it so many times, getting loose on the top side out of 2. Everyone's done it. I've done it. We've seen so many cars take what I like to call the invisible chicane, where they just go get loose coming out of 2, down on the back straightaway, and then back up the track for the next turn. But it's just unfortunate. I mean, he just got loose right with the leaders. He's literally between first and second place and ends up kind of levering himself off of What If, and then it's Sloppy Joe piling in. Nothing he could do. And it's just unfortunate for these guys. I mean, the three of them had the race pretty much made. Dale was way out front. And you can see this happen from What If's view as well here.
Darian, oh my god.
Oh my god, no, and I hit him.
Oh, and so it's because he got into Ed, is ultimately what threw the caution. If it was just Darian spinning on the inside, it wouldn't have been a yellow. But because you've got multiple cars involved, Heat 4 is like, yep, that's a yellow. Bring everybody together. Pit strategy out the window, baby. Oh boy, you can see the leaderboard right up here and how everyone was doing before the caution came out. D-Ray was, you can see him on track, ahead of What If, ahead of Sloppy Joe. I was like 15 seconds down the road, and then Joseph, Iceberg, Roots on the lead lap, Gator, Soundhead, and Darian just went a lap down. Gator gets the free pass, everybody gets crunched up together, and you know this is where the real clown analysis starts. So I gotta say, the first green flag run after the first of these late race cautions was decently clean, but there were a few incidents. You can see Roots absolutely sends it on me. Ultimately, we go 4 wide. Ed Soundhead gets the worst of it. Let's hear what Michael has to say about it. Now, going back to Roots' view, I've realized he's only back here because he got clowned out of some decent positions. You can see Jared here already squeezing him coming out of the corner and just gets loose and runs into him. Again, people getting loose in turn 2. You should have fresh tires. You should know better than that. Unfortunately, Roots loses, 4 to 5 spots. Ultimately, that's what puts him back here in a position to send it the way that he did here into turn 1.
Sorry, Davin. Sorry.
And it was an honest mistake. He sent it in way too late. And to his credit, we're coming into the turn. It looks like we're going to be going too wide. From this point, it looks like we're going too wide. I wouldn't expect Ed to go as wide as he did. Darian to stick it under him. Roots trying to stick it under me. And just ultimately not going low enough on the track. That's what causes the problems.
Sorry, Davin. Sorry.
And it was just a stack up. Again, Ed gets the worst of it. Wrong place, wrong time, really. There's not much you can say about it. But you know what? It wasn't that bad. I mean, Ed's still in the race. You can see him still in the draft. Cody's here as well. This is where it gets really bad. Jarrett just bounces off the apron, gets into Gator, gets into Ed, causes a big stack up.
And there goes my race. Come on, Roots.
And at that point, you can see Ed go crashing into the wall. And that's pretty much it for him. And we haven't seen a lot of people get on the apron today. I mean, there's a lot of getting loose out of turn 2 and turn 4, but just straight up like missing the racetrack, a little bit out there. I mean, it's not like he skimmed the apron. I don't know what Jarrett was thinking, honestly. This is up there in terms of clownery. I need a clown scale, like from 0 to 5, this is probably like a 3 or a 4 on the clown scale in terms of just going for a racetrack that doesn't exist, and then just taking people out because of it. I want to see if Raw Gator included that in his highlights video, because that's pretty significant. So you can see everything that happens here. Jared just tries to, I guess, stick it under Darian.
Okay, Iceberg has
It's not going to work.
I don't think there's anyone outside of him, and he just goes down and hits the apron.
Yeah, Gator about summed up what I'm thinking here. Pretty rough, I'll be honest. That's pretty rough. Let's move on and see what happened to bring out the next of these cautions. The next caution, also pretty rough. You can, as they're talking about hating to see Ed Soundhead get in the wall, because let's be honest, you hate to see it. Watch IDK player. You can see him on the inside of Kamikaze Games, and exactly like Jarrett did, he's got tons of space above him, just bounces off the apron, puts KG in the wall, and then KG bounces off the wall, gets back into it.
You know what? Yo.
That's tough for Rusty. Ultimately, glad there's a caution out of that, because that could have been really, really bad. Because was he going for the pits, or was he just trying to get off the wall? I don't know if he was wrecking. I don't think we can look at IDK's view, but we do have his voice from Joseph's stream. So let's hear what he has to say about it.
Oh, Kamikaze just came down to me. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? And there goes Rusty.
Oh, Darian. Oh,
Not
yeah.
really much,
Wow.
actually.
You want to hear something funny?
Nice.
Rusty went down pit road, so Rusty gets a free pit. Wait, what? He's down pit road. He gets to pit for free. Why is he pitting?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He's around it.
Really, he didn't say much. Which is whatever. He got the apron, caused a wreck. It was a caution. They were at the back anyways. It was such a short run that it's honestly not that big of a problem. So count up the cautions, all right? Number 1, really early on in the race, that was definitely Rusty Walrus. Number 2 was Darian. Number 3, IDK player. So another restart, another tight pack, more clown moves. This one's pretty rough, honestly.
Kamikaze just absolutely sent it.
Don't call him Kamikaze for nothing.
Of course it's Ed again. Of course it's Ed. It's gotta be. This is up there on the clown scale. You're gonna enter the corner
3 wide up top.
on the bottom lane. Like he is almost on the line. It doesn't look like he lifts. I've never seen someone go from the bottom lane to squeezing someone in the wall. The only way to do that is to just stick it on the gas. That might be one of the most disrespectful moves I've seen. Period.
Don't call him Kamikaze for nothing.
Like, that we're 100 and some laps into this race. You know how to drive the track. You can't just forget to lift off the gas. Yikes. That's like a 5 out of 5 clown scale. I don't know if there's anything.
Don't call him Kamikaze for nothing.
I don't think there's anything you can say about that apart from like sorry, because just drove right into him. He went from the bottom lane to the top lane, just scraped his way across the racetrack.
I don't know how many times I can have my day ruined in one race.
And then ultimately,
Oh no.
it's Cody getting loose again, coming out of turn 2. He bounces off Darian here.
It's gotta be a new record.
And then Ed gets collected.
Oh no.
Although it's really janky on this screen because Ed totally missed that wreck. He gets in the wall. Now we got a caution. All right, already I found a new clip that I didn't even notice. This is Jake being pretty brutal.
Jake,
Just squeezing Darian in the
what are
wall.
you doing? Oh my God.
I can't.
That was all Jake, dude.
If there are cars on the outside of you,
What are you doing?
you can't just hold the gas down and stick them in the wall. Like that's not.
Excuse me. Oh, so
There's 2 cars on the outside of him. You're 3 wide.
Jake.
What did you think was gonna happen?
Jake.
Ultimately, screws Darian. You hate to see it.
Oh, there goes Cody. Oh, Ed just hit him on purpose.
Yeah, they need to look at that stuff because Davin, I think, tried to hit me earlier.
Who do you think we are? Like really, who do you think we are? He's literally turning left to avoid the wreck. He doesn't even hit him on the screen.
Hit him on purpose.
I don't know, man. I think that's really low. To do it once and then to do it again and say we need to take a look at that stuff, that's mad disrespectful. Just to think that we're the kind of people who would cause cautions on purpose just because we're in a voice chat together. We're all trying to race and we're all trying to do the best thing. Like, we're trying to do what we can. Cody spun out. Ed's not going to run into him on purpose to get a caution. I don't know if these guys try to do that stuff. I didn't even think of that. I didn't know that was a thing that was possible. But apparently, we're being accused in the race of trying to run into each other and cause some cautions. That's a big yikes, man. I mean, talk about clownery. I know people are going to say heat of the moment, you know, in the stream race kind of situation, but I'm not prepared to sit back and just take that kind of garbage, you know? I mean, these guys have been really nice to me. I don't know why they're like saying this kind of stuff on their own streams to their own audiences. You get what I mean? Yeah, that's not very nice. Especially because I feel like we've been generally nice on track. I got into Gator a few times in the corners, to be fair. I never shoved him up the track. I did kind of push him through the corners. That happened. But I don't think it's right to go and say, like, they're causing cautions on purpose. Because, no, it's just not what happened. He literally doesn't even hit Cody on the screen. You can see him turn left to try and miss it.
Hit him on purpose.
I don't like that they assume the worst from us immediately.
I think tried to hit me earlier.
You know, I've been trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, but that's
I'm pitting
We're
on
wrecking
that
on
one.
purpose because they're a lap down, I'm guessing.
that's pretty rough. Just saying that we're wrecking on purpose. You know, I mean, I say we, but it's Cody and Ed. I mean, they're my teammates, whatever. Big Shrimp. Like that is a 6 out of 5 on the clown scale, y'all. I'm not a fan of that at all. And I think that kind of like the underhand, like doubt, we're throwing shade at each other in each other's streams. That's not a good environment. I don't want to race in that environment. Stop being a shrimp. Come on now.
They could stay a lap down.
Come on now. So we're a few cautions deep into these late race runs where we're only doing 2 or 3 laps. I understand it. The guys who were at the front are really frustrated. Dale, What If, and Sloppy were in a league of their own, way out in front of the field. They're getting frustrated, and we're paying the price. We're riding aboard here with Sloppy Joe, just sticking it where it doesn't belong, and just causing wrecks. Like, this is just silly. And it ends up taking Roots out and causing another caution. I don't think he even says anything about it. Because you can't. Like, I don't know what to do here, man. Like, what can you say? Look at this corner, all right? Look at this freaking corner. People are sliding up the track. Rusty's under me. He's got Roots under him. He's got Gator on the bottom. When was this move ever gonna work? It's just like, we've got at least 12 laps to go. Why are you doing this? They're going 4 wide for third place. You can easily stick it up the bottom in the next corner, but people can't lift off the gas.
4 wide, 4 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide.
And they just want to squeeze people and cause a wreck. That's up there in terms of clownery. We're gonna get another view just to make sure we have an unbiased opinion. Let's go right on board with Michael Roots. So we've got Joseph on the inside, Rusty on the outside. We're going 4 wide. I don't know where Sloppy thinks he's gonna go. And just, he takes out Roots and Gator. Wait, this place isn't wide enough to go 5 wide. You can't just do that. Just hold your balls for 2 seconds and lift off of the gas, pal. Because he's trying to just stuff his nose in. How? There's not enough space for a car there. There was never enough space for a car there. What was the plan here? Joseph's like on the bottom, on the line. Michael's trying to give him and Rusty space. I'm stuck on the outside, like against the wall at this point. And Sloppy just thinks he can shove it up. Like, Roots is doing a great job. He's giving Joseph space and he's giving Rusty space. Rusty's just trying his best to keep it off me. I'm just trying my best to keep it off the wall. Sloppy's just trying his best to stick his nose everywhere he thinks it belongs. Because that is big clownery. Big clownery. And ultimately, it screws up Roots and it screws up Gator. Let's ride on board with Gator. And this is probably the hardest one to watch because he was just minding his own business. And big clown moves from Mr. Esports himself. Let's find this wreck from Gator's view.
Not today, Kamikaze. Oh, they're gonna wreck.
Yeah, dude, let's go.
Like, what can you do? I love his reaction, first of all, but he's just minding his own damn business. Like, just sitting on the bottom of the track, but these idiots are trying to go 5 wide above him. Ultimately, Gator just gets collected.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I've said bad things about Gator today. It's true. This sucks. I feel for the man. That's not a good time. There's no one you can blame other than Sloppy Joe. Seriously. Like that.
3 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, 4
What is this? Esports, baby. Esports. All right. What's next? Here. We got 8 laps to go now. Race is coming to an end. Not a lot of time left. Everybody's getting antsy. Everybody's getting antsy.
Come on, 48, you freaking idiot!
Let's ride on board with Roots. See if we can figure out what exactly happened there. Sloppy's definitely not happy about it. And it definitely looks like Roots just came up, coming out of the corner. But let's find that clip and see exactly what happened here. it's one of those situations where it's not that bad on Roots' screen, you know? He slid up the track. He really did. He sent it in the bottom. He got on the gas way too early and ultimately ends up squeezing Sloppy Joe. It doesn't look like that hard contact. Joe's got some space between himself and the wall. Ultimately, on Sloppy's screen, he got sent into the wall. But it's what happens next that I'm really not happy about.
Okay, we're back in it.
Where instead of sticking up at the wall and sort of dealing with the situation, Sloppy Joe just turns left. And you can see it on his onboard.
You freaking idiot!
The best part about guys with steering wheels is you can see their shoulders move.
You freaking idiot!
Like you can see him turn and go down the track.
Come on, 48, you freaking idiot!
And he just he turns down the track and then he stays down the track.
What the Rusty?
And this is where it really starts to annoy me. We're gonna go on board with Cody just so we can see exactly what's going on here. And this is some top tier clownery. This is a fantastic view of the wreck and everything that happens, basically. You can see Sloppy Joe get shoved up into the wall, turns left to try and sort of get back at the 48, and everyone who has momentum coming out of the corner who weren't in the wall, they're going to the left of him, obviously. And he just kind of, he's off speed compared to everyone else, and he just kind of sits in the middle of the track. He's got 3 guys underneath him. At this point, Ed isn't even clear of him. Let's go to my onboard. I think this is, it's sort of entitlement driving. Like he wants to stand his ground because he bounces off the wall and he's off speed. So he turns left and he just sits in the middle of the track. And instead of going up near the wall, he just kind of sits there, and ultimately it's everyone who's trying to come up the track because they're on the apron avoiding him, and he just gets ping-ponged into the wall. You know, if I know it's easy to say after the fact, but if he had just used the whole racetrack instead of trying to block people, this wouldn't have been a problem. Ed wouldn't have been on the outside of him, he wouldn't be in the wall, and he wouldn't be angry with himself. Not with himself, with other people. He always blames other people. Hold on, let's find that.
People have no patience.
Hold on. I want to hear that one more time.
Night, and I'm gonna get a terrible finish because people have no patience.
Hold on. No patience? I just want to watch this again real quick. I just feel like we need to watch this clip again of him just shoving it up the middle. And just running people over. And then
Because people have no patience.
Interesting. Really interesting. I'll let you guys decide what's going on here.
God damn it.
Oh my god.
I'd like to point out also, that wasn't a caution until Sloppy Joe decided to take it onto the apron. Like, it really wasn't a problem.
What the?
He gets put in the wall, the incident's pretty much over, then he hits the apron and drops it, and that's what causes the caution. So that's 2 in a row for Sloppy Joe. The only person tonight to cause 2 cautions, Sloppy Joe. And he's mad at Rusty, which is interesting because Rusty got ping-ponged off of other people because Sloppy Joe was sitting in the middle of the track.
What the? Rusty!
And I want to go back to what Sloppy was talking about after the race, because I love listening to the after race rants. As someone who's sitting in the middle of the track and forcing everyone to go underneath him instead of just moving up, this is what Sloppy Joe had to say after the race was over.
People just gotta learn how to drive better. There's a way. I'm all about having fun, but that's not how you have fun, in my honest opinion. Especially for a track that's that wide that has 3 grooves.
A track that's wide, but he's trying to shove 3 people on like the bottom half of the track instead of just moving up. This is a little bit contradictory, a little bit shrimpery, especially now that he's caused 2 cautions in a row.
Oh my
That's pretty rough. It really is.
Still not the free pass.
So ultimately, now we've got 9 laps to go, and there's 2 more restarts because we're getting another caution. Let's go take a look. This is pretty rough for Gator here. He's running in 2nd place, and I would say that one's on Dale. He just got loose and got into Gator. Let's go find that on his view, because that was pretty rough. And again, it's top of the corner, getting loose.
Oh shit! Sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
And he feels bad, as he should. I mean, luckily Gator kept it off the wall. Wasn't too bad. Not really a clown move, just a little mistake. It's frustrating for Gator just because he's been collected in so many things, but there's really not much he can do.
Fuck, man.
So, yeah. Now let's go back and see what caused the yellow. So we've got a restart here. This is actually before Dale gets into Gator. This is really what sends What If back, because he'd been sticking near the front, even through all the cautions. But on the restart, just not clear. Dale just simply slips up the track, gets into What If, gets him tight. I'm sure he didn't mean to do it. And it's just unfortunate.
It's always going to happen. The guys in the front are going to have older tires.
So What If just loses a ton of spots here because everyone's sending it up the inside, as they should. You know, we're late in the race. That puts Rusty in the wall, which is also unfortunate. And I get to the inside of What If. Sloppy gets to the inside of What If. He's just going backwards. You can see there's the Gator smack. But it's on the back straightaway when things really get bad. And What If has a pretty good view of what happens. First of all, Jake, look in the mirror. Just slams into him. Doesn't even break. That costs What If quite a bit. But it's Jarrett getting loose on the top side. That just, it takes out Gator, it takes out Ed. It feels like it's the same guys every time, just getting screwed over. And then there was a caution, like a late caution for it. You'll probably get a better view here on Sloppy Joe's screen. But it's again, coming out of turn 2, people are getting loose, and it's taking people out. And for not the first time tonight, it's Jarrett in the 88. You got a great view of it. You can see him in the middle there, sort of topside now. He's got 2 cars under him, slides up the track, and just gets into Gator. And ultimately takes him out. Again, it's not big clownery. It's just not the first time tonight. Not the first time tonight that Jarrett's been making a mess.
Jarrett just freaking took out like 3 cars right there.
You're not wrong, Sloppy. You're not wrong. So now we've got just a handful of laps to go. And, oh boy. It's a wild ride to the finish. We're officially in NASCAR overtime. I took tires. I'm starting from 9th place. We've got 2 laps to go. And no holds apart. Everyone's going ham. You are not going to mess up a chance at a victory with a late race restart. And everybody absolutely went for it. And of course, some people are not very happy about it. First of all, that was... It's not brutal. It's just questionable. He apologized for it. Whatever. Until it gets into What If. Not great. What If's down to like 9th place at this point after being in the lead for so long. But it's really once we get down the straightaway and into turns 3 and 4 when tempers really start to flare, especially on the Dale Reynolds side. So, we're going to watch this first from Dale's view, then we're going to take a look at Roots, Sloppy Joe, Littell, and of course myself, because this is a pretty big incident with a lot of cars involved. We want to get a clear picture, all right? That is the idea of the clown reel. No bias. All right, or maybe it's kind of impossible to say no bias, but we want as many views as possible. We want as many just angles of each incident so we can analyze them properly. And I would love to hear what you guys think about these incidents. So if you want to drop a comment, talk about what happened, talk about whether or not you like this show, whether or not people are getting angry about it, I'd love to hear. So Dale restarts in 3rd place. We've got 2 laps to go. It's a green-white checkered. It's NASCAR overtime. Through turns 1 and 2, Marutz goes a little bit wide. I think with a little bit of contact from Joseph, who's now in the lead. But it's in 3 and 4 when things really get bad.
You're gonna shove me into the wall, man. What the fuck, dude? Come on, Roots.
And ultimately what happens is Sloppy Joe and Dale get the worst of it. can you really blame Michael Maroots though? Because I understand, you know, Dale can't see everything. He's been trying to focus on his race. The 48 comes up into him, squeezes him into a wall.
Roots are gonna shove me into the wall, man. What the fuck, dude?
That's pretty rough. Not a good time. But let's see what happened from Michael Maroots' perspective. So Maroots is sort of going middle. He gets shoved by the 8 of Sloppy Joe, gets on the gas a little bit early, and ultimately ends up squeezing Dale in the wall. Now, he was going to make the bottom of the corner until he got ass-packed by the number 8. I don't think there was a move that Sloppy was trying to make, but Joseph was also pretty hard on the brakes, trying to hold the bottom. He doesn't want anyone to stick it under him because we're coming to the white flag. Maroots gets on the gas early, makes a little bit of contact with Dale, does end up putting him in the wall. That's not great. But look at the 8 of Sloppy Joe. You can see his nose sticking it in there, and he gets into Dale even more. And I feel like without that smack there, piling in, and then Sloppy Joe just chasing Maroots through the corner, I wouldn't blame the 48. If he lifts off, he's getting an ass packing from the 8. He's just trying to keep it off Dale. Sloppy's not giving him any space. And both the 48 and the 8 are sliding up the track. It's not just Maroots. Yes, he probably should have lifted mid-corner to keep it off Dale. I know we're coming to the white flag, and everyone's trying hard. But he's also being pushed by the 8. I don't think he can lift that much. Ultimately, Sloppy Joe ends up getting into Dale anyways. You can see him go up the track. He wasn't going to finish that corner. There's no way Sloppy Joe was going to get through that corner without squeezing Dale in the wall. But let's take a look from his point of view. Littell's underneath him. You can see it in the mirror up above. Littell does send it up the inside.
Littell? One at the bottom. Come on, Littell.
But you can see through the entire corner, Sloppy's not dropping off of Maroots' bumper.
Littell?
He's pushing him. He's pushing him through the whole corner. What the hell is Maroots supposed to do except go up the track into Dale? Sloppy's got nobody behind him. Once again, just distinct lack of patience and general clownery. Like, if he lifts off the gas, this isn't a problem. If he lifts off the gas, he can get back down to the bottom of the track and have a look for the lead. We're coming to the white flag. You can see my purple car in the mirror. That's the car that won the race. But Sloppy, once again, sloppy driving, just impatiently shoving people up the track, ends up putting himself in the wall, and he blames Dale?
Dumb move, Dale, you freaking...
What? And that's it. Once again, off pace because he's in the wall, Sloppy's gonna sit in the middle of the track and just force everyone onto the apron underneath him. This is where I'm getting like really unhappy with things. We're gonna take a look back at Dale's view.
What the fuck, dude? Come on, Roots.
Very similar situation. Sloppy Joe's off pace, so is Dale. Dale's sitting up at the wall. Sloppy Joe is sitting in the middle of the track, forcing Darian and What If to go under him because he doesn't want to use the full track surface, and just sits in the middle. And it's the people trying to get around him, trying to get back on the track, is what puts him in the wall.
You have got to be kidding me, dude.
If you just sit on the top side of the track, no one's gonna... You haven't learned. We did this already today. If you just sit on the top of the track, no one's gonna have to go way down on the apron and come way back up the track and ultimately put you in the wall. So Sloppy is just... He's doing the same thing. He's just sitting in the middle of the racetrack.
You have got to be kidding me, dog.
And ultimately, this causes a big stack up, which puts Jake and Cody on the apron. Sloppy goes down to the apron himself. He just turns down there. And then Jake and Cody, who are shoved onto the apron because of this mess that Sloppy created, that's what puts Dale on the wall.
You have got to be kidding me, dog.
You can see Jake getting loose. They slide up the track.
You gotta be...
That's it for Dale.
Fucking God. I'm done. I am so fucking done with this bullshit. Fucking people can't fuck...
All right, I'm going to cut that off because it gets real bad. If you want to watch his stuff, if you want to watch any views, any full race views and do some analysis for yourself, links are always down in the description box. So, I just wanted to sort of get the clown reel out there. If you're a fan of one of these drivers and you want to figure out exactly what happened in each incident. I don't want to say like you have someone to blame, but you generally have a better idea of who caused what incident. And we're going to go take a look at the finish, and then we're going to call it a night. So after that whole incident, we're coming through turns 1 and 2. Joseph's in first, I'm in second, then it's Brendan Littell behind me. Coming out of the corner, Joseph gets a little bit loose. We kind of stack up a little bit, but we stay sort of one in front of the other. Not a big deal. At this point, I'm trying to back up my entry into the corner because I want to get underneath him on exit and beat him to the line. I think that would be awesome. I wasn't really trying to bump and run him, although I did want to still have my nose below his car because he did sort of leave a little bit of space. And ultimately, because I'm trying to back up my entry, Brendan Littell, you can see him in the mirror, is trying to send it in. He makes contact with me, which pushes me into Joseph. And that was the move to win the race.
Pushed into Joseph by Littell. I'm going to win this damn race. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
What? And it was really like an assist from Brendan in the 22 to shove me into Joseph and move him up the track. And we've all seen Joseph's reaction. Let's pull it up one more time.
Radioactive again. Don't worry, my side.
Damn it! Drive through! Damn it!
and that's just frustration at that point because he doesn't know. I mean,
damn!
He just got moved up the track. But from Brendan Littell's view, you can see exactly what happened. And he knows it. He knows as soon as he does it too.
Drive through, you cut my run off.
I meant to cut his run off. It's the last lap. You can see the contact. I go up into Joseph. And he knows as soon as it happens. Joseph comes down off the corner just trying to keep the 22 from beating him to the line. Ultimately, Brendan beats him and gets that second place.
He came down.
How did Drive-Thru just win this?
I pushed him into. I kind of pushed him into Joe a little bit.
He knows. I love that. I love that he knows. I talked to Joseph about it afterwards. He's totally happy about it. He's been really nice the whole race, to me at least. I know he had a few incidents early on, but he came afterwards and he just said like, "Congrats, that was just a clean bump and run." So ultimately, very happy about it. Great to get a first victory. But I hope you enjoyed the clown reel. And I hope you have a better understanding of when people are angry and what they're saying and who they're directing at, and how it's hard to get the whole picture. It really is. And it's only by sitting down and looking through all the footage after the fact that we can really figure out who's doing what and how these incidents are happening. So, as such, I wouldn't give one person clown of the race because I feel like the first half was definitely Joseph, because he literally like took out Gator and he took out Littell and he like, it's not his fault. He was just getting loose. He also took out IDK. But the second half of the race, definitely Sloppy Joe. Just, he's frustrated that there's a caution, and he's complaining about people being impatient and not using the whole track. Meanwhile, he's being impatient and not using the whole track and caused, I would say, 3 entirely avoidable incidents. But who am I to say I only won the race? Maybe we'll do this next week depending on the reaction. Hopefully people don't get too angry about this. I'm just trying to get, again, just an objective point of view. You know, we're looking at all the incidents. We're looking at all the angles. We're getting the real idea of what's going on. Rusty's been pretty bad too. There's a few things I feel like I should have shown where Rusty sent it in on me. Because I definitely got moved up the track a couple of times. I just want to throw that out there. You're not getting off scot-free, pal. I see you. I talked about you earlier on, but there's been a few Rusty sends. But ultimately, that's the story. That's Homestead. Next week is Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. If you're interested in tuning in live, it'll be Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on everybody's YouTube channels, but also the core channel. Again, links are going to be all up in the description box. Thank you so much to everyone who supported me through the core, through everything I do, through I create. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson for retiring. And that's going to be it. Thanks for watching the shrimp reel, baby. I'm going to see y'all next time. Or maybe I won't. Maybe you guys are going to hate this and everyone's going to get... Oh, never mind.